Hello, I'm Nicole, if you didn't know, and this is an update really for myself because I would like to write a musical. I've been doing a little bit of research. This video is an update to tell you or myself what I have found out so far. So right now, just for perspective, I've chosen to make a little video diary of the process of me writing, composing, and completing a musical. I'm doing this because I have habits that I have learned were due to some healing that I needed to do. And this is a way to hold myself accountable. So I have trouble completing tasks that have to do with my art and my craft and my actual work that I love for myself. I have a tendency to write and compose and make things, and I like to be creative, and then I get to a certain point in my creativity and then I cut myself off. And because I have now learned that that is an elaborate version of self-sabotage that I've been doing for a very long time, for the majority of my life, I'm trying to accomplish a goal in a different way so that maybe the goal will actually get accomplished and not sort of sit on the back burner for a really long time like my other projects have. So for those of you that don't know, which would probably be anyone that's watching this video, aside from a select few people that are close to me, I have been writing music, composing music, producing music for over 20 years at this point. And I have only put out one song. I have hundreds of songs, but I've only put out one song. And one of my goals in my life, of my lifetime, is to write a musical, but also to write an opera. And so I've chosen to go the musical route first, even though my educational background is in opera. The anxiety I feel about even doing this, like filming myself and putting it out there and letting other people see it, and the anxiety I feel with the need to perform because I've actually stated that I want to accomplish a thing, is tremendous. It's really hard for me, but I know that it's essential for me to continue to flourish on the healing journey that I'm on for myself and my mind. So to make this more concrete of an idea, instead of just like a dream that is floating out there in the ether and the universe and something that I'm actually going to accomplish, I had to organize a structure around figuring out what to do. So the first thing I did was think about my own background in musical theater and decide what I was going to do and what I wasn't going to do. I knew that I wanted it to be theater. I wanted it to be musical theater. I didn't necessarily want to do a gospel play. I didn't want to do like a really super old school musical theater show, because I grew up with really old musicals that I saw on TV. The first musical I ever saw was Funny Girl with Barbra Streisand, and I fell in love. I was just like, this is the best singer ever. That's not the first singer I heard, because I grew up in the church with my mom as the choir director and the pianist for our church, and So I grew up singing in the church, so I understood singing, but I had never seen a musical and the glamour and all of those things that go with these old school musicals, Broadway musicals from Funny Girls from the 60s, from that era. So that was one of the first things I saw, but almost immediately after that, I saw Stormy Weather, and I saw Cabin in the Sky, and I saw Lady Sings the Blues, which people don't really think of as a musical, I guess, because it's an autobiographical film, but it has music in it, and that was the thing that stood out to me. I was like, ooh, Diana Ross. And then I saw The Wiz, and then I watched Mahogany right afterwards, and I saw the Josephine Baker Story. So I had all of these influences right at an incredibly impressionable and early stage of my my mind as a young person, as a child. What I thought of as what a musical is was defined by all of those films that I saw as a young child. All of those in Sweet Charity. I just thought, like, Paula Kelly, like, hung the moon, you know? So with all of that in mind, I started researching Stormy Weather, Cabin in the Sky, musicals like that, and I came to the realization that even though these were musicals with all black casts, all African American casts, they were not written by African American people. And as an African American person, like, I needed to see someone that looked like myself doing what I would like to do. And unfortunately, there haven't been that many musicals written by black women. I'm hoping to change that. That's why I'm doing this. But I did find out about a few. I also have found out about a few black women that were playwrights. Of course, I grew up like reading about Lorraine Hansberry and that sort of thing, but in the past few years, there's been a few amazing black women playwrights that have been really successful, and I was really excited to read about those women. It's amazing. So sorry I had to put my glasses on because I'm sorry if there's a glare, rather. I had to put my glasses on because it's really hard for me to look at the camera without being able to see the little dot. Okay, because I don't have a partner to help me with this whole endeavor, I'm doing everything by myself. So ideally right now, music and the music and the book are gonna be written by me. I did some research into women, and specifically black women, that have either written the music or written the book of a musical. So the first thing I thought of was The Color Purple musical, of course, and that's like Brenda Russell. I started researching and finding other women. So someone I ran across was Mickey Grant. She wrote this musical review called Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope. Also, Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope was directed by Vanette Carroll. I hope I said her name correctly because they're not here anymore. But she was the first African-American woman to direct a musical. Okay. She's the first African-American woman to direct a musical on Broadway, which is like, okay. So, directed the musical of another black woman. Thank you. Okay. I also found out about Deidre Murray, who was like a Pulitzer Prize finalist, and she's a cellist, and she does jazz and musical theater. Super dope. Who else? A lot of people. Well, not a lot of people. That's the problem. Actually, not a lot of people. It's like a little handful. It's a handful of us that want to do this and actually got to do it. I learned about Kirsten Childs, who wrote The Bubbly Black Girl. Is it? Bubbly Black Girl Sheds Her Chameleon Skin. And then the little bit I've seen of that, and I was like, oh, so she wrote this for me. Like, that play seems like it's similar to a lot of my growing up. So the thing is that before I started researching, my knowledge of non-black, we'll say it like that, non-black musical theater writers was extensive. Anybody that knows me knows I love me some Sondheim or some Bernstein. But you know, starting this research has been really interesting, to say the least. And you know, I hope I figure everything out. I figure it all out. It's just a little bit of an update for now. I'll come back with more later, including all the books I've started to read and structure and all of these things, organizing, all of that stuff. But I'll do that later. Bye.